Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be updating you on some currently more transfer rumours. I know the transfer window's come to an end, as I said, but I'm still going to be updating you on some latest news that is currently going on, because you know teams have got plans to get players in the January transfer window. So we are going to have a discussion today. We're going to be talking about Greizeman, we're going to be talking about Thomas Lamar, and if we get time we are going to be talking about a few other stuff as well in the process. So anyway, now you just see my Man United Basel preview. I will be doing my prediction 11 maybe later on today or tomorrow. So we'll see. Anyway, let's get into the news. Anyway, now it's about Antoine Griezmann, Atletico Madrid player in the window. This summer we have been heavily linked with Greizeman. He'd been our main priority target, you know, for basically nearly the whole entirety of the window. He was on our radar, basically was Antoine Griezmann, and it looked as though early on in the window we was actually going to land Antoine Griezmann. You know, he did basically clarify that he did want to leave. It looked realistically that we were going to get Greizeman, but it come to a halt as we was all Man United were basically waiting whether the transfer ban was going to be upheld, or the transfer ban wasn't going to be upheld, but it's currently been upheld at this. So currently, due to Atletico Madrid getting a transfer ban, we couldn't, in the process we couldn't land Antoine Griezmann, because he did have that guilty conscience, basically, because he knew Atletico Madrid couldn't find an alternative replacement until January, because the transfer ban had come up. And you know, yeah, and Mourinho wanted him to come to Old Trafford. He wanted him to come to Old Trafford, you know, to fulfil that number 7 shirt, because you know that number 7 shirt, from a commercial point of view, we wouldn't want to keep it. You know, from a commercial point of view, we'd want to fulfil it, but we have currently we're gonna have to keep it vacant for this season. At least, but you know, we've had loads of number 7s over the years. The best 7 we've probably had. Well, recently, you know, I can't remember the best number 7 we had. I think we were, you know, we've had Ronaldo there, we've had Brian Robson there, you know, we've had George Best there in the past. We've had Ronaldo, George Best, you know, Brian Robson. We've had the likes of Di Maria there before. We've had Depay, who's been in at number 7. You've even had Michael Owen in the number 7 before. But for me, I would. But now apparently Manchester United are prepared to save it for Antoine Greizeman. There was discussions in the summer, but it had come to a halt due to the current transfer ban. And Antoine Griezmann did sign a new deal as well. I think it was 4 or 5 years back in June as well with Atletico Madrid. So basically now, apparently Manchester United are actually prepared to put £100 million in for Greizeman. We still haven't lost our interest in the play. We're paying to put £100 million in, and we're convinced we can maybe get him next summer. And £100 million will be enough to activate Antoine Griezmann's release clause. I think it is 200 his release clause at the moment, but I think it gets reduced next summer to £100 million as his release clause, Antoine Griezmann's, and we're prepared to pay 100 million. It will be enough to take the player away. He hasn't scored yet this season, Griezmann. I think last season he scored 28 goals for Atletico Madrid. He risen up the ranks fantastically well with Real Sociedad. You know, he's a player that's prolific, good in the air, prolific goal scorer. Very good for France as well. Skillful, tenacious, competitive, leads the lines fantastically well, Antoine Griezmann. You know, he's definitely, Lukaku's very good. Difference is though, Lukaku's Premier League proven. As you saw with Griezmann, you know, he's never participated in the Premier League. Be interesting to see, you know, how he would elevate to a high level, you know, in the Premier League. As you know, Griezmann as well, you know, has a fantastic friendship with Paul Pogba as well, as we all know, as we're all aware of Antoine Griezmann, and he still knows that number 7 shirt had been waiting for him, that number 7 shirt, and Griezmann would fulfill it fantastically well. But yes, as I did say, just like 2-3 weeks ago, that basically it was after the Swansea game that Antoine Griezmann had actually come out and basically clarified that he regrets not joining Manchester United. He basically said he had an unhappy emoji, he had an angry emoji in each hand, and he seemed to gain quite a lot of tension, did Antoine Griezmann, of what he'd put out. It seemed to gain quite a lot of attention, and a lot of Manchester United fans had reacted, saying, "Oh, you know, eager, you know that." you know, Manchester United fans wanting him to come close, saying, you know, number seven's waiting for you. You know, there's still time the transfer window left. Put a transfer request in, and this is what basically the Manchester United fans have said. So after Swansea game, Greizeman basically did say he regretted his decision not to join Manchester United, and a lot of people interpreted this. What Greizeman had currently said in the process, but I'd love him at Manchester United. We may even go for the player in January because their transfer ban is over in January, so we may go for him then, or we may wait till next summer to get Antoine Greizeman in the process. But I think we're going to keep that number 7 vacant and still be convinced that we can get Greizeman. We know Barcelona in the window had been interested in Antoine Greizeman as well, and I think he's had words with Diego Simeone, the manager. He's had words with him that presumably Greizeman said it could be his last season with Atletico Madrid, you know, because he wants to, you know, he hasn't, you know, he's done very, very well for Atletico Madrid. And as we all know, early on in the window, he said just before the Europa League final, he estimated 6 out of 10 he would come to United. If we get to the final, win the final, then he would be coming to Manchester United. And this is what Greizeman had told French TV. But then basically, yeah, so because of the transfer we can't get him, but I presume he wants to elevate to a high level of play. His calibre wants to be, you know, winning trophies. You know, he's done very well with Atletico Madrid, but he's not winning any silverware. And this is what Greizeman actually. Sorry about that. So apparently Manchester United are prepared to put £100 million in for Greizeman, which would be a record fee. Our most expensive sign at the moment is Paul Pogba, who we got last summer. But we will see what happens about that. Anyway, there's also latest news now about Thomas Lemar, who's a Monaco player. And we know Monaco have lost a lot of players in the window. He's been doing very, very well for France. And apparently now Manchester United have joined the race to try and capture the player in January. Apparently we're prepared to put £92 million in for Lemar. So we could potentially steal him as well from Arsenal. Thomas Lemar... as I did say, he can play anywhere in the middle. He can play anywhere on the left as well. But apparently Manchester United have entered the race with Arsenal, because presumably it did say the other day that it looks like Arsenal were going to land him in January because they did miss out him in the August window. What it basically said is it did say Arsenal had agreed a 5-year deal with a player and he was going to be receiving £250,000 a week, and it was a £92 million bid in the process. So it did say they had come to, it wasn't fully complete, but they did say they'd come to an agreement in principle of 5 years, £250,000 a week, and £92 million, which would be a record fee for Arsenal. Anyway, so from my perspective, you know, Man United, I said we still need a winger in the team, as I said, because I'm disappointed that Man United missed out on a winger. But with Lemar's situation, you know, for the entirety of the window that Arsenal had been heavily linked with him, he's got 3 years left on his deal as Lemar for Monaco. He's still only young as well. It's a lot of money for the youngster. Arsenal had been in discussions, approached the representatives, and Arsenal wasn't meeting Monaco's valuation. Arsenal had 2 bids turned down from Monaco for Lemar. Lemar clarified that he did want to join Arsenal early on in the window. In the process of it then, they wasn't getting anywhere with Lemar. They had Draxler as a target as well. And then basically Arsene Wenger classified it as dead in that situation. Basically then Liverpool had actually come into the race. Liverpool put 55, Liverpool put 66, got turned down. They were in the process of putting a bid in over £72 million. It didn't materialise because then Arsenal come in to put a £92 million bid in, and even Arsene Wenger in the process of it was spotted in France to basically try and get a deal done with a player. And this £92 million bid got accepted by Monaco, but apparently the press were basically reporting that the player didn't want to make the move to Arsenal. He preferred the move to Liverpool. But what Arsene Wenger basically insisted was he dispelled the myth completely. He basically said he never turned down Arsenal, did Thomas Lemar. He said he never turned Arsenal down at all. He just believes, you know, he said he's focused at Monaco. He's still at Monaco. He's Thomas Lemar, and he said he's got 3 years on his deal. And, you know, he doesn't believe in any of it. He said Thomas Lemar didn't turn out now because obviously he presumes that Lemar wanted to make the move early on in the summer to the Emirates Stadium. But apparently now it's actually reporting that Manchester United are interested. We've joined the race, and we could even go for Lemar in January, you know, and we could even put a £92 million bid in for the player. But he's skillful, he's good in the air. You know, he was very, very good for Monaco last season. You know, he's young age talent. You know, he's got years ahead of him as well as Thomas Lemar. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in the process of that, because obviously we know Man United, you know, we've lost out on, we've lost out on targets early on this summer. You know, we had even Perisic as his main priority target. We had there were rumours about the Bayer, which I've already discussed with you guys about. And with the Perisic case, as I always said, you know, he's having a fantastic start to the season now with Inter Milan. You know, he did confirm the other day actually that Perisic had signed a five-year deal till 2022, and I think there's a release clause involved in it as well. So it's going to be harder for teams to get the pursuit of Perisic in January. But he's a player that scored 11 goals, 12 assists last season for Inter Milan. He's a player that can play as an attacking mid, he can play as a winger, and he can play as a second striker as well. So his versatility is very good. You know, he's highly experienced as well. And you know, Perisic is very delighted with his decision, and he confirmed he's looking forward to improving under Lucy Spelter. He's even Perisic, and this is what he quoted out, and he even discussed this with his current teammates as well. Did even Perisic. We was unlucky not basically to land even Perisic, because we know early on in the window that Perisic definitely would basically try to force the move. You know, he did want to make the move, did even Perisic. During his 2 years of Milan, you know, he's provided a lot of assists as well. You know, he's strong, he's quick, he's good in the air, he's skillful. You know, he can put balls into the box. You know, I'd have loved even Perisic at Manchester United. You know, only way Inter Milan would have accepted it is if we'd paid the £48 million, or we were preparing to offer Martial as part of the deal for Perisic, what Manchester United were never going to do, because we know Martial's growing and developing into his game well now, and he's had a fantastic start to this season as Antonio Martial, so we're not prepared to go with that. We know in the process of it, the agent, you know, I'd even try to get a deal finalised. In the process for Perisic, we'd had about 2 or 3 bids turned down for the player. And basically, you know, agent had discussions with Ed Woodward to try to get a deal finalised. The agent had been in discussions with Inter Milan officials regarding the player's future, and then basically Lucy Spelter had basically come out and basically suggested that he's convinced that even Perisic is going to stay with Inter Milan, and then basically from then I think the rumours had died down, but he confirmed there were no discussions going on, but there were still furthermore discussions going on, because it was Mourinho's main priority target, but it ended up then coming to a conclusion. So it was a massive disappointment in the situation about Perisic, and then, you know, with the Arsenal, you know, as I did say, you know, with Arsenal, you know, they were prepared in the window. They were actually prepared to offload Sanchez as long as they could get that replacement for Sanchez. But obviously, you know, Wenger's been resistant and reluctant to offload the player during the transfer window. You know, due to that, you know, he's been there 4 years. He's won the FA Cups in 4 seasons with Arsenal. You know, they bought him for 35 million from Barcelona. You know, he risen up the ranks with underneath, did Alexis Sanchez. You know, his versatility is very, very good. You know, scored 24 goals for the club last season. Did Sanchez. You could tell, you know, he would basically try to make the move as Alexis Sanchez. He turned down £300,000 a week from Arsenal. He was demanding £400,000 a week with Alexis Sanchez. And teams have been interested in him, you know, in the August transfer window. Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Man United had a slight interest in the player, getting him away from the Emirates. And he's quoted that he wanted Champions League football, did Alexis Sanchez, but City put a 50 in, City put a 60 bid in, that had been turned down by Arsenal, because City were only prepared to do a cash-only deal for the player. But I presume if Arsenal do get Lemar in January, or do get another player, that they basically will soften their stance and maybe let Alexis Sanchez leave the club. So we'll see what happens in the process of that. But City were not prepared to offload Sterling. City were not prepared to offload Aguero, and this is basically why, guys, in this situation. So, but Sanchez could go just for £20 million in January. So you could say Arsenal have lost out on about £40 million. They could have got 50-60 million pound that City offered in the August window, but City could get him for 20 million pound in January. But I think Arsenal would rather cash in rather than let the player go free for next summer. Alexis Sanchez, but yeah, we will see what. And Arsenal have lost quite a few players in the window, so they'll need to invest some more money in the. Wenger's going to have plans for the window, and he's got to get some more players in and invest more money in the process of it. But anyway, as I did, what was I saying now? As I did say, from my Manchester United perspective, I think we've done very well in the the last two windows with Jose Mourinho. We spent like over £300 million all in all since Jose Mourinho has took over the club. Won the Europa League last season. Won the League Cup as well last season. Did well in his first debut season. Wasn't very good in the league, with all the home jobs that we suffered. But I think this season, Manchester United have stepped it up. I do really think we've stepped it up, as I keep mentioning. Romelu Lukaku's hitting form fantastically well. You got Mkhitaryan that's playing well. You've got Matic that's playing well. Pogba, now is playing very well. You've got Bailey and Jones, who are complementing each other's centre-back partnership very well. So majority of players are doing very well, but I did say what concerns me, a bit does, Luke Shaw, he's got to make an impact. Mourinho could still sanction him off in January, he's got under 2 years left on his contract. He's been injury prone, as we all know. He never had these problems at Southampton, but he is still only young, he is still only 22, and you can expect, Mourinho, he's been playing the 4-2-3-1, in the last, before the Stoke game, he's stuck with a 4-2-3-1, and he's been playing the same team more or less, but you can't expect Mourinho to play the same team all the time. He's got to change the formation, he's got to rotate the squad a little bit, as you saw in the Stoke game. He put Herrera in the mix, he put Darmian at left back, and I thought Herrera played fantastically well against Stoke yesterday, guys, if I am going to be quite honest with you. But Darmian, but at that left back, I know that Blind's been playing fantastically well at that left back. We know we've got Marcus Rojo still injured at the left back position. Rashford doing fantastically well. He got his name on the score sheet yesterday as well. So yeah, it's looking very good. We've won 3, we've drawn 1, but as I did say, going to Stoke's not very easy, because we haven't beaten them at Stoke. We haven't beaten them at Stoke since the Fergie days, and this basically now is Mark Hughes is now unbeaten in 4 league meetings now with Jose Mourinho. So it wasn't too disappointing. I thought we did enough to win the current game, but I thought it was differential errors from Bailey and Jones, basically, that cost us the points, and that's what you basically got to accept. But going to Stoke is not easy, because they've had a decent start to the season. They beat Arsenal there earlier on in the season, but now we look forward to Basel on Tuesday night. But a lot of interesting things happened, over the weekend. City beating Liverpool 5-0, and I did look at the replay with that Sané putting his stud straight in City's keeper's face. I don't think this was literally intended. I think he tried to get the ball as the keeper come out, but accidentally or not, you can't put your foot out and in someone's face, and it's just a sending off, and it's simple as that. And Pep Guardiola said he wasn't sure if it was sending off, obviously, because it wasn't intended, but I still said it's sending off, because you can't do stuff like that. And since then, it was an even game. I heard was an even game basically then, and it actually was an even game between the two sides. It was an even contest. And then as soon as Mane got sent off, one of Liverpool's quality players, it currently changed the shape of the game. It changed the game, and City took full advantage of the current game. And we all saw over the weekend, with Tottenham, they've been very consistent. They bought 3 players in the window. They've been very consistent. Obviously they've got a new stadium. They've got the way the football Pochettino's got them playing is magnificent. They've got some class players in there. For me, the 2 strikers in the Premier League, the best strikers in the Premier League are Kane and Romelu Lukaku. Kane's just absolutely fantastic. I think he's won the Golden Boot, for Tottenham for the last couple of years. But yes, currently they're not doing well at Wembley so far this season, Tottenham, but they've done fantastically well away from home of Spurs this year. They've had Harry Kane, scoring his 100th goal, against Everton. He's only 12 now, behind Thierry Henry. Harry Kane, and you saw the other results. And yes, to confirm, Manchester United are still top. I did fight with Manchester City that was top, but we are still currently top on goal difference. So yeah, still a long way to go. But anyway, we'll go back to the process of what I was saying about Greizeman. Yes, Greizeman, we could still possibly get him from a commercial point of view. We wouldn't want to keep number 7 vacant, so we're convinced we could maybe get him next summer, maybe go for him in January for him to fulfil at number 7 spot, and be prepared to pay £100 million for the player that signed a new deal with Atletico Madrid back in June. But yeah, guys, we will see what. We'll see what happens about that. And as I did say, you know, he showed with the after the Swansea game, he clarified he regrets not joining United. You know, he had an angry emoji, he had an unhappy emoji, and he gained a lot of attention from United fancied Antoine Greizeman. He bagged 28 goals last season for club and country, and he has yet to score this season as Greizeman. I think he's been at Madrid now, Atletico Madrid. I think this is his 4th season with Atletico Madrid is Griezmann's. I think he's had discussions, this could be actually his last year, Antoine Griezmann. So, yeah, we'll see what happens anyway in the process of it. And he was very, very close joining early on the summer. But due to the transfer ban that occurred, it currently stopped us from getting Antoine Griezmann. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. Tell me what you think to the Lamar situation. Could Man United still possibly land Lamar in January and beat Arsenal to the race? You don't know, do you? You know, could Man United go for Greizeman in January, go for him next summer? Just let me know, you know, comments below everything I've been discussing about you today. Anyway, drop your comments, likes below on the channel, subscribe as always, and take it easy, and I'll see you later. Bye.